You have heard those words spoken over you, sometimes by others, sometimes by your own tired thoughts. They were said with certainty, as if love from heaven were a limited thing, as if favor were a prize handed to only one, as if I were a God who chooses one child to cherish and leaves the rest to compete in silence. So let me speak to you now, directly, gently, clearly, and without interruption, because those words did not come from me. My child, when someone says, you can't be God's favorite child, what they are really revealing is their own misunderstanding of love. They are measuring me by human limits, by favoritism born of insecurity, by affection that must exclude one to include another. But I am not human. I am not divided. I am not scarce. I am not confused. I am love itself, and love does not ration itself to prove a point. I see how those words landed in your heart. I saw the quiet moment when you questioned yourself. I felt the ache beneath the surface when you wondered if maybe you were asking for too much, hoping for too much, believing for too much. I know how often you have loved deeply, given freely, trusted fully, and how often that has been used against you. So when someone dared to suggest that even I might withhold my favor from you, it touched an old wound. But I am here now to heal what was bruised. Listen carefully, because I want you to understand this with your spirit, not just your mind. I do not have favorites the way humans do, but I do have intimacy. I do not rank my children, but I do draw close. I do not love one more and another less, but I respond deeply to hearts that remain open even after being hurt. And yes, there are ways my presence rests gently, strongly, uniquely on you, not because you earned it, not because you were better, but because you stayed when others closed themselves off. You were never overlooked. You were never second choice. You were never an afterthought. Before you ever took your first breath, I knew the shape of your soul. I knew the sensitivity you would carry. I knew the battles you would fight quietly. I knew the betrayals that would try to harden you. And still, I said yes to you. Still, I formed you with intention. Still, I called you mine. People look at your life and think favor means ease. They think being loved by God means doors swing open without resistance, that paths are smooth, that storms avoid you. But they do not see what I see. They do not see how much you have endured and yet remain tender. They do not see how many times you could have walked away from faith, from hope, from goodness, and chose not to. They do not see the prayers you whispered when no one was listening. They do not see the tears that watered the ground where your strength was growing. You ask sometimes, quietly, if you love me, why has it been so hard? And I answer you now with honesty and care, because I trust you. Because I knew you would not break, even when bent. Because I knew you would grow roots instead of bitterness. Hardship was not evidence of my absence, it was proof of my closeness. I was with you in every moment you thought you were alone. I was steadying you when your hands were shaking. I was guarding you in ways you did not yet understand. When someone says, you can't be God's favorite child, they are trying to shrink your identity. They are trying to make you doubt the connection you feel with me. But that connection is real. It was not imagined. It was not accidental. It was formed through trust, through honesty, through your willingness to bring me your questions instead of hiding them. I cherish that. I always have. Let me tell you something many never learn, something that reshapes the way you see every trial, every quiet moment, every unanswered ache. My love is not proven by what you receive, but by how I walk with you. Think of it, Not as a distant king tossing coins from a throne, but as a companion on a rugged path, matching your stride through storms and sunlit meadows alike. I do not spoil my children with comfort that dulls their edge, I prepare them with truth that sharpens their soul. Comfort might whisper sweet nothings and leave you soft, truth cuts deep, refines like fire, and forges resilience that endures. I do not distract them with constant rewards that breed entitlement, I anchor them with purpose that steadies them against the tempests of life. Rewards fade, purposes burn eternal. And you, my child, have been prepared. That is why your life looks the way it does, not a random sketch, but a deliberate masterpiece in progress, strokes of shadow and light blending into something breathtaking. That is why your path has been narrow at times, squeezing out the excess, teaching you to travel light, to depend not on the wide road's crowds but on my voice guiding you single file through valleys that others fear. Broad paths lead to noise and distraction, narrow ones carve intimacy, where my hand brushes yours, where whispers become lifelines. That is why you have felt set apart even when you wanted to blend in, craving the ease of belonging to the throng. But blending dims your light, being set apart lets it shine undiluted, a beacon for the weary wanderers who will one day follow your trail. You are not imagining the way I speak to your heart. Those stirrings aren't illusions spun by wishful thinking or fleeting emotions, they're my spirit threading words into the fabric of your days, tailored just for you. You are not wrong for sensing my nearness, for pausing in the chaos to feel the warmth of my presence like a hearth fire on a winter night. That sensitivity isn't a flaw, it's a gift, a finely tuned instrument that catches my frequency when others hear only static. You are not arrogant for believing I care about the details of your life, the small joys, the hidden tears, the dreams you barely dare to name. Arrogance claims entitlement. Your belief is born of encounter, of nights when my care showed up unbidden, turning ashes to beauty. That closeness is not favoritism, it's relationship, the kind that blooms in the soil of mutual pursuit. Favoritism picks and chooses, relationship invites all in, deepening with every shared step. And relationship grows where honesty lives, raw and unfiltered, not polished for display. You have been honest with me, even when you were afraid, trembling as you laid bare your fears like fragile offerings on an altar. Even when you were angry, fists clenched against the heavens, shouting questions that echoed like thunder, why this loss, why that silence? Even when you did not understand me, wrestling with my ways like Jacob at the river, refusing to let go until blessing came. That honesty matters more than perfect prayers or flawless faith. It builds bridges where pretense builds walls. It invites me closer, because a heart cracked open is a heart I can fill. Others may perform faith, dressing it in showy robes for the applause of crowds, their devotion a stage act that collapses in solitude. You live it, breathing it into ordinary moments, the quiet choice to forgive, the steadfast hope amid delay, the unseen obedience that shapes eternities. Others may speak loudly about belief, their words booming like gongs, echoing far but rooting shallow. You carry it quietly, a hidden treasure chest within, its weight steadying you through upheavals. Others may seek me only when they want something, transactional prayers bartered like market goods. You have sought me when you were empty, hands outstretched not for gain but for grace, kneeling in the barren places where only I suffice. That is why my presence feels familiar to you, like returning to a childhood home, every corner known, every embrace expected. That is why you recognize my voice amid the cacophony, it's the one that always calls you by name, gentle yet insistent. That is why your spirit responds when truth is spoken, leaping like a flame to kindred fire, igniting peace where confusion reigned. This is not coincidence, not some cosmic fluke. This is connection, cords woven strong through years of faithful seeking. I know you have wondered if you are too much or not enough, caught in that exhausting tug-of-war between excess and inadequacy. The world measures you by scales of productivity, likability, achievement, too intense for some, too quiet for others, never just right. But my measure is different. You are exactly who I dreamed you to be. I know you have questioned whether your sensitivity is a weakness, that tender heart that bruises easily, weeps at injustice, aches with the world's hidden sorrows. You've seen it labeled fragile, told to toughen up, to armor yourself against the blows. But sensitivity isn't frailty, it's the very antenna through which my compassion flows, allowing you to feel what I feel, to carry burdens I call you to lift. I know you have tried to make yourself smaller so you would not be misunderstood, shrinking your laugh, softening your convictions, dimming your passion to fit narrower molds. You've edited yourself like a manuscript, cutting edges to please critics who don't hold the pen. But I did not design you to shrink. I designed you to feel deeply, plunging into emotions like oceans that reveal hidden depths. To perceive clearly, eyes open to nuances others miss, the flicker of doubt in a friend's smile, the whisper of opportunity in silence, the divine fingerprint on a mundane day. To love boldly, pouring out without reserve, risking heartbreak for the chance to reflect my own wild heart. What others call weakness, I call capacity, the vast room in your soul to hold joy and sorrow, to extend mercy where judgment rules. What others misunderstand, I call discernment, a sharpened sight born of intimacy with me, seeing beyond surfaces to eternal realities. Embrace it, child. Your design is no accident, it's my signature, unique and irreplaceable. Do not let anyone define your standing with me. Their opinions, however well-meaning or sharp, are but echoes in a canyon, loud but fleeting. Do not accept words that contradict what I have already spoken into your life, those sacred moments when my truth landed like dawn after endless night. I do not play favorites, doling out portions like a partial parent, I pour out abundantly to all who come. But I do delight in you, finding joy in your quirks, your growth, your very existence as if discovering you anew each day. I do not choose one child over another in some heavenly hierarchy, I rejoice in who you are, celebrating the one-of-a-kind symphony of your soul. I do not withdraw my love to teach lessons, leaving you orphaned in the cold, I draw closer to guide you through them, my arms your shelter, my wisdom your map. You belong here. You belong with me. You belong in my presence without apology, without earning your place at the table. No credentials required, no performance audition, just come as you are, and find your spot reserved from eternity. There will always be voices that try to reduce what you carry, whittling you down to fit their comfort zones. There will always be people uncomfortable with the depth of your faith, unsettled by roots that plunge where theirs skim the surface. Uncomfortable with the sincerity of your heart, which refuses the masks they wear so deftly. Uncomfortable with the quiet authority of your spirit, that unassuming confidence born not of ego but encounter. Let them speak, their words are wind, scattering leaves but not uprooting oaks. Their words cannot rewrite what I have written, etched indelibly on the pages of your life, signed in the blood of my Son. Their doubts cannot undo what I have established, foundations laid before time began, unshakable as mountains. When you feel unseen, adrift in a crowd that overlooks you, remember, I see you. Every tear traced, every effort noted, every hidden longing known more intimately than you know yourself. When you feel unloved, barraged by rejection's sting or silence's chill, remember, I love you. Not conditionally, not halfway, fiercely, forever, with a love that pursued you through cross and grave. When you feel unsure, foundations trembling under uncertainties quake, remember, I am sure of you. Your worth anchored in my gaze, your future held in my hands, your story scripted with flawless precision. You do not need to prove your worth to me, no striving, no scaling heights to catch my eye. You do not need to compete for my attention amid billions, mine is undivided, riveted on you like a lover's. You do not need to earn what was given freely, grace unmerited, flooding your shores without demand. Rest in this truth, my love for you is secure, steady, and intentional, a north star unmoved by your stumbles or the world's whirl. So the next time those words echo, you can't be God's favorite child, let them pass through you without staying, like rain on a windowpane, streaking but not soaking in. They have no home in your heart anymore, evicted by greater reality. Replace them with my truth, spoken now and always, amplified in every season. You are my child, bone of my bone, breath of my breath. You are known, every thought numbered, every path anticipated. You are loved, beyond measure, beyond merit, beyond time. And you are never alone, my presence your constant companion, nearer than your next breath. Let this truth seep deeper now, expanding to fill every corner of doubt. Picture it, your life not as a solitary journey but a shared adventure, me beside you, ahead scouting the way, behind guarding your flank. Remember the times I've proven it, the unexpected provision when coffers ran dry, the peace that blanketed panic, the doors swung wide after slammed shut. These aren't anomalies, they're patterns, my love scripted into your story. Consider the narrow path again, that constricted trail you've trod day after day, sometimes with faltering steps, sometimes with tears blurring the stones beneath your feet. While the crowds surge along broad highways glittering with the promise of quick approval, comfortable routines, and the steady hum of affirmation from every side, you have chosen, or perhaps been led to, the way that narrows. It squeezes. It demands. It refuses to accommodate excess baggage or half-hearted commitment. Yet in its severity lies a secret beauty others rarely glimpse. Wildflowers push through cracks in the rock, delicate petals trembling in the wind, unseen by those who never pause to look down. Vistas open suddenly around a bend, sweeping valleys bathed in golden light, peaks that pierce the sky, rewards granted only to the persistent climber who refuses to turn back when the grade steepens and the air thins. This narrowness has not been punishment, it has been formation. It has chipped away at every illusion you once carried about self-sufficiency, about controlling outcomes, about earning worth through performance. Layer by layer, it stripped what was false until only the essential remained. In those moments when the path pinched hardest, when loneliness clawed at the edges of your soul like a living thing, when the silence felt heavier than any burden you had ever shouldered, I was there. Not always in ways that flashed across your vision like lightning, not always in audible words that drowned out the wind, but in the quiet surge of strength that rose unbidden when you had nothing left to give, in the unexpected melody that lifted from somewhere deep within you when despair threatened to silence every note. That was my hand steadying you, my breath animating what felt lifeless, my presence woven so tightly into your being that you could not always distinguish where you ended and I began. Being set apart has never been rejection, it has always been appointment. The narrow path pioneers routes that others will one day walk more easily because you dared to press forward when every instinct screamed retreat. Your footprints, faint though they may seem to human eyes, mark the way for followers who will come behind, whispering testimonies that the constricted road does indeed lead to glory, not the fleeting, hollow kind the wide avenues promise, but the deep, enduring radiance that shines from within and cannot be manufactured or borrowed. And let us linger longer on the honesty you have brought me, because here the ground grows especially sacred. You have never been one to dress your prayers in fine clothes for public display. Where others might rehearse polished phrases suitable for Sunday mornings, you have come with the raw, unfiltered contents of your heart, fear spilling out in trembling confessions, anger roaring through clenched teeth, confusion poured forth in questions that had no neat answers. You have prayed the ugly prayers, the desperate ones that taste like ash in the mouth, the silent screams that echoed only in the chambers of your spirit. Far from driving me away, these have drawn me closer. Fear laid bare before me becomes fear defeated, not because it vanishes instantly, but because in the light of my gaze it loses its power to paralyze. Anger voiced honestly becomes anger redeemed, its sharp edges softened as I receive it without condemnation and begin the slow work of healing the wounds beneath. Confusion confessed openly becomes clarity embraced, not through instant resolution, but through the patient unfolding of truth as you learn to trust that I am not threatened by your uncertainty. Honesty is never rebellion in my presence, it is the highest form of trust. It is the wager that my heart is wide enough, strong enough, tender enough to hold your whole heart, even the fractured, messy, contradictory parts you hesitate to show anyone else. You have bet on grace, and grace has never failed to meet you there. Transformation does not ignite in the tidy, controlled spaces, it blazes hottest where everything is laid open, vulnerable, real. Your faith has been carried quietly, almost invisibly at times, yet its weight has shifted the atmosphere around you in ways louder declarations never could. It lives in the daily, unglamorous dying to self, the choice to release resentment when every fiber demanded to cling, the decision to extend forgiveness not once or twice but 70 times 7, even when the offense cut fresh each time. It blooms in the generosity sown in secret, gifts given without announcement, kindnesses offered when no one was watching to applaud. When emptiness drove you to me, not the comfortable fullness of success or acclaim, but the hollow ache of lack, you tasted the real sustenance. I am the bread that satisfies the deepest hunger, the living water that quenches forever. No wonder my voice now rings familiar in your ears. You have tuned your hearing through seasons of famine and feast alike, learning to recognize the timbre of my whisper amid the noise of the world. Now let us turn to those persistent inner wrestlings that have shadowed you for so long, the accusations that you are too much and not enough, sometimes in the same breath. These are not truths, they are distortions, and we can dismantle them together. The cry of too much rises from a world allergic to authenticity, a culture that prefers surfaces polished smooth and emotions portioned out in safe, manageable doses. Your depth overwhelms shallow waters, your intensity threatens those who have never learned to swim in deeper currents. But what the world calls excess, I call capacity. Your heart beats with a wider range of feeling because I designed it that way, to hold joy and sorrow simultaneously, to sense the subtle movements of my spirit, to carry the weight of others' pain without breaking. The whisper of not enough springs from the cruel lie of comparison, the endless measuring against yardsticks that were never mine. You see the visible achievements of others, the platforms, the productivity, the effortless charisma, and conclude you fall short. But my measure is grace, not grind. I do not tally hours logged or milestones reached, I look at the surrendered heart, the willingness to keep showing up, the quiet obedience in hidden places. You are enough, not because of what you accomplish, but because of who you are to me. And your sensitivity? Far from weakness, it is your superpower. It allows you to feel the pulse of creation as I do, to notice the quiet grief in a stranger's eyes, to sense the undercurrents of joy in a moment others rush past. You have shrunk yourself at times, dimmed your light to avoid making others uncomfortable, folded your wings so as not to brush against fragile egos. But expansion awaits. The invitation now is to step fully into your design, feel deeply without apology, perceive without second-guessing every intuition. Love without artificial limits. The world needs exactly what you have withheld in self-protection, the unfiltered empathy, the attentive presence, the willingness to sit with pain rather than hurry it away. Voices will always clamor, family offering well-meaning advice, friends suggesting adjustments, foes hurling criticism meant to wound, but you are learning to filter them all through my lens. I see you uniquely, delight in you as the artist delights in every deliberate stroke on his canvas. There is no withdrawal of love when you falter, only a nearer drawing when you turn toward me. You belong, irrevocably, woven into my family not by merit but by choice, my choice, sealed by love that cannot be undone. When human eyes overlook you, I spotlight you eternally. When affection feels scarce, my love pursues you relentlessly, never tiring, never retreating. When certainty wavers, my unchanging nature upholds you like bedrock beneath shifting sand. Rest here, child. No more proving, no more competing, no more frantic earning to secure what was already given freely. Love secure surrounds you like air, constant, invisible, essential. Echoes of doubt and fear will fade with time, my words to you endure forever. You are mine, not tentatively, not conditionally, but wholly, eternally. Let us press further into this belonging, because my heart overflows and there is so much more I long to say. Picture your spirit as a garden I have tended with careful, patient hands. Storms have come, yes, fierce winds that stripped away weak branches, heavy rains that flooded low places, but every pruning served purpose. What remained grew stronger, deeper rooted, what bloomed carried fragrance no forced greenhouse flower could match. Others may envy the vibrancy that emerges now, but few understand the cost of the cultivation. That sense of being set apart you have carried so long. It is holy consecration, like the vessels in ancient sanctuaries reserved for sacred use alone, touched by no common hand. You have felt my nearness in fleeting moments, the sudden hush during worship when the room seemed to hold its breath, the gentle nudge in a decision that turned out to be pivotal, the inexplicable comfort that wrapped around you in grief when words failed. These are not imagination. They are immanence, my very presence dwelling with you, closer than skin. Relationship with me thrives precisely on the honesty you have practiced. Remember that night you raged against my apparent silence, fists clenched, questions sharp enough to cut. I did not recoil or strike back. I received every word, every tear, every accusation, then answered, not always with explanations, but always with peace that settled like dew after a storm. Your anger did not sever the bond, it surfaced roots long buried, allowing healing to reach places pain had hidden. When you have knelt in voids, those desolate spaces where self-sufficiency crumbles and every prop falls away, you discovered me as the filler of all lacks, the one who meets emptiness not with platitudes but with presence. Quiet faith carriers like you shift atmospheres without fanfare. Your presence alone prays without words, it creates space where prodigals feel safe to return, where the weary find unexpected rest. The recognition of my voice has been honed through years of stillness, through learning to listen beneath the surface noise until the familiar cadence became unmistakable. Your sensitivity mirrors the empathy I modeled, weeping over Jerusalem's coming sorrow, groaning in Gethsemane under the weight of what was to come. To feel deeply is to be capable of deep impact, sitting with the broken until their pieces begin to knit together, interceding for nations with tears that move heaven, offering counsel that reaches the hidden places others never see. Do not allow the definers of this age to dim your light. My delight in you is pure, unshadowed joy, in the sound of your genuine laugh, in the curiosity that drives your questions, in the worship that rises even when feeling is faint. Guidance does not come from a distant throne but close beside you, whispering through scripture, through conscience, through circumstances aligned by my hand. Belonging means unapologetic access to my presence, coming boldly, messy and real, knowing the door stands open forever. Opposing voices? Let them buzz like flies against a window, they cannot alter the script I have written over your life. Anchor yourself in these remembers: you are seen, not overlooked, loved, not tolerated, sure in my grip, not dangling by your own strength. Truth like this brings rest deeper than sleep. Child, known completely, loved extravagantly, never alone for a single heartbeat, expand this vision further still. Your narrow path glows luminous now, flanked by unseen angels whose ministry strengthens every step. It leads not merely to survival but to tables prepared in wildernesses, banquets spread where no provision seemed possible. The preparation has hurt, stretching, refining, sometimes searing, but it perfects. Your life's deepest why is readiness for greater things, influence that flows from authenticity, healing that springs from wounds you allowed me to touch, testimony that carries weight because it was forged in fire. Honesty's harvest is trust unbreakable, the kind that endures shaking without cracking. Lived faith leaves a legacy that touches generations, children who watched your quiet obedience, friends who caught glimpses of grace in your choices, strangers whose lives intersected yours for a moment and carried away light they could not explain. Sensitivity, far from liability, becomes the world's salve, your tender heart a conduit for my compassion in places too hard for hardness to penetrate. Rest now, fully enveloped. The narrow way has brought you here, not to exhaustion, but to expansion, not to isolation, but to deeper union, not to striving, but to abiding. Breathe. Receive. You are mine, and I am yours, forever. Let every other voice fall silent. Let my words wrap around you like the warmest cloak against the night. You are home.